Welcome to the Scene Snobs podcast.
Welcome to the Scene Snobs podcast, everybody. How are you? I hope you're all doing well. I am Mick Manhattan the Scene Snob, and I am here to entertain on this Friday night, our new night. That's right. And we got a fun episode. We're going to talk some foreign films because they're under attack with tariffs, and it's bothering me in a big way. Like, leave my movies alone, especially my foreign films. I need them. It's one of those things I just truly that's an aspect and a part of filmmaking that I love to check out what other countries are doing. 9 times out of 10 I'm looking at the behind the scenes. I love to watch a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, especially for foreign films, to see kind of how different cultures take on filmmaking, because regardless of where you are or what you're doing, like the fundamentals are there, but so many different countries do it in so many different ways, and they tell so many different stories, and that's why I love foreign films. So this is going to be a love story, or love letter rather, to foreign films tonight. We're going to talk about foreign films versus American films. We're going to review some great movies. Well, some not so great, some great. We're going to talk about, but I appreciate you guys being a part of it, joining in, and it is the Scene Snobs. It's the Scene Snobs podcast on the Scene Snobs channel. We thank you guys. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hang out with us. If you're listening to us by podcast, please give us a like and a rating. I don't ask too often. I probably should, but the follows, the likes, the ratings, they really help. And wherever you are, if you can, we really appreciate it if you can do that. All of our links are down below. Go check it out, and I appreciate you always. But let's get started, shall we? I'm going to kick it off again. We've been doing it a little bit different, doing the reviews first. I hope you're enjoying it. Please give me that feedback. Let me know. Do you like it? Do you like the reviews first? Did you like them better at the end? Did you like them cutting in your own show? Love to hear it. But let's get started on the first one. Ooh, The Surfer, starring Nick Cage. And if you know anything about Nick Cage, he's Sturdy's favorite actor. If you go to Horror with Sir Sturdy podcast and Sturdovision and Popcorn and Pints, that is a guy, a podcaster who and YouTuber who cannot get enough of the great Ghost Rider. He loves Nick Cage so much. And I have to tell him that when it comes to 2025's The Surfer, I don't know if he's going to like this one as much, but I can't wait to hear his feedback. But my feedback on The Surfer, the new movie that just came out, takes place in Australia. Nick Cage plays a character called The Surfer. He's seems to be a businessman who's buying a house that he grew up in. It was his grandfather's house on the beach in Australia. Beautiful location. This movie, from start to finish, is gorgeous. The cinematography is beautiful. They capture the sky, the ocean, just everything, just perfectly. And I loved that aspect of it. And it's an intense thriller at times. He is a guy who wants to buy this house because he loves surfing. That's like his number one love, and he wants to surf in the waters that his grandfather and his father grew up on, and it's so important. So he goes with his son, and he wants to go out there, but the locals will not let him surf. They will not let him move there, and slowly but surely, he finds himself stuck there and obsessed with trying to get into that water to surf. And it grows more and more intense throughout. It really does become a good thriller. But I had a big problem with this movie in the way of sort of how the characters sort of interacted and where it kind of went. Nick Cage brings a lot of his eccentricness to this role. Now, he's eccentric in everything. He really is, and we know it. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. And this is one of those ones where I don't feel he fit in with the story and the tone they were trying to tell. It felt very much like a darker take on like a Point Break, which is a dark movie within itself, and I'm using it as a correlation with the surfing and what that means and like what the group is like. That is very much that group from Point Break, Patrick Swayze's group. That's very much how Scally, the main character who kind of runs this cult of surfers, kind of approaches things and how he is. And he's very magnetic in the way he talks. He's played by the gentleman who was in Nip Tuck, and he also played Dr. Doom in the original Fantastic Four movies. I'm drawing a blank at the moment, but did a really good job in this. I liked him. But then when you get down to it and the crux of everything that's happening and sort of how it all plays out, I just didn't love where it went. It seems like it went high and high and high with all of this intensity, and then sort of fizzled out in the end. So like when it really came down to it, I gave this a 2 out of 5. It was a good movie. Again, I enjoyed it. I'll probably never watch it again. There are some, again, intense scenes. If you're a horror fan, I think you'll like this. If you're a drama fan too. But yeah, I would classify this more as a thriller, but well done. I like to see what the director does more. I think this is one of his first ones, but The Surfer was one saved for when it's out on streaming. But overall, not too bad. I liked it overall. but it just wasn't a movie that I think Nick Cage fit in person. I maybe would have rather seen. All right, I don't want anybody to get mad at me for this because I love Nick Cage. I do. He's one of my favorites. But his intensity doesn't work in every role he shows up in. And that is very evident in The Surf. But that's really what took the points away and sort of like the fizzling out at the end. I was like, you've built up so much intensity, and then just to kind of bring it where it was, I was like, you're telling a different story by this point. It's like turning from an intense thriller to sort of like a drama. Like, just like kind of it sputtered really when it got there. But yeah, I would love to hear what you guys think of The Surfer. Let me know. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. I think it'll be nice and interesting. But let's get to our next one. Another thriller, The Luckiest Man in America, starring Paul Walter Hauser. Walton Goggins is in this. There's a bunch of people in this movie. This was so Paul Walter Hauser plays a guy named Michael Larson who tried out for Press Your Luck. It was a show he really loved, and he knew everything about it, and he really wanted to be on it. So they gave him a chance, and when he shows up, he's a very awkward guy. And Paul Walter Hauser plays those roles well. Like, they really match him up with like these guys who he's not an everyman. He is an awkward, weird guy. Let's really give it to him. And he plays those roles up really well. And he pushes them to an intensity, especially in this film, where like his face, his acting, his facial expressions with his acting is just brilliant. This guy like is so underrated as an actor, in my opinion. And he is coming up more and more. Like, we saw him in a Clint Eastwood movie, but then you also go and see him in Cobra Kai, but he still brings that intensity to everything, whether comedic or dramatic. In this one, very thrilling. So the intensity really comes within, he's winning over and over again. And the producers are starting to see, okay, we're going to have to pay this guy a lot of money. And in the 80s, they didn't have that budget for it. So they take him to intense spots trying to subvert him from winning at any cost. They embarrass him at certain points, and it really goes over the top in certain ways. By the time you get to the ending, you're kind of like, what is going on? That's where it really falters for me. Is like, it's sort of like my last review with The Surfer. The end sort of sputters out. Like, you build up this intensity throughout, and that's what earned the 3 for me. And the acting was so fantastic. But then you get here, and geez, like it's like it just ended. That's where it went. Yeah, and I think it's important when you do something like this, when you adapt. I don't want to say a biopic, but it is a biographical picture, because this guy was real, and this is a real event that happened. And when you adapt that, you're going for this true crime feel. But I feel like you have to make sure the ending actually works out. If you're not going to Hollywood ending it or change it up, you can't build all this intensity and like Hollywood it there and then get to the end and be like, yeah, and this is what happened. And that's what it feels like with this. It was a good movie. I think if you like thrillers, this is one that you're really going to enjoy. Again, the acting in this, Walton Goggins plays a good character in this as well. And the way it plays out, between everybody is really interesting. So if you guys haven't had a chance to see this, I think check it out. Let me know what you guys think, because this is one that just came out recently, and I haven't heard a lot about it. It doesn't feel like a lot of people have gone out to see it that much, but I think it is worth at least checking out if you're a movie fan, especially for thrillers. But yeah, that is my review of The Luckiest Man in America. Let me know what you guys think. All right, getting down to it. Horror. Clown in a Cornfield. Oh boy. Did I like it? Who knows? I did. I really like this. I did not go in. This is the last movie out of all 5 movies I watched this week. I in fact put on Thunderbolts again to just go and check it out, and and I watched Mission Impossible and put those on and things like that. So like, I was really getting out of maybe watching this. Not that I didn't ever want to see it. I just wasn't like, it was Clown in a Cornfield. Usually when you have these very literal titles come out for these horror films, you're like, all right, this feels like a little too much. Not this one. I don't know much about it. I believe it's based on books. Friendo the clown is stalking these kids. What I liked about this was these kids reminded me of me and my friends when we were in high school. We used to love filming stuff, and they're making little movies and doing this stuff, and they're trying to tell the story of Friendo the clown, which is their urban legend, and he lives out in the cornfields. And things pop off. Things really pop off in this, and Friendo shows up a lot and he goes after him. And there's no shortage of like fun kills, inventive kills in the movie. There's it's very cool, like how everybody interacts. I would put this not on the level. I think Thanksgiving sort of set a bar for new slasher, but this lives up to it. I would like to see more of Clown in a Cornfield. I think this works. It was a good horror movie. It was funny. The cast was a lot of fun. And it just overall, like, I just enjoyed it all throughout. It's not too gory where I'm like, all right, I'm getting tired of it, because that can happen. It can just a little too much sometimes. But for me, this was just such a great time. Like, I'm going to watch this again. This is going to be part of the repetition. I think Clown in a Cornfield is worth it personally. And I gave it a 3 out of 5. The whole thing, like, if you're a horror fan, I definitely say check this one out. I realized I got the title wrong up top, but it is Clown in a Cornfield. Make sure you go up and check it out. But now you know what my next one's going to be. And it's another horror movie. This one, a sequel. Final Destination Bloodlines. What did I think of this? Another solid one. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. It's Final Destination. I think the first one gets a 3, maybe a 3.5 for me. So 2.5 out of 5 is a good curve for this. Like, it deserves it. It was interesting. It was fun, a little wild, and I had a good time with it. The kills are very inventive, as they always are. They're right on point. But the story is so much fun. I had such a good time with this story. It was such a good time. You start right from the beginning where they go up into a restaurant. It's kind of like the Space Needle. I don't think it's meant to be, because that didn't really happen with it. But like, it's this restaurant and the Space Needle type thing, which I just saw recently in like Drop as well. It was another one. Another horror movie did that. So kind of a trend right now. And the premonition is that everything goes to haywire and the whole thing starts falling apart while people are up there and such. And then the woman, it takes place in the 60s. The woman who has premonition, they get out, they're safe. And then, they save everybody that's part of it. But now it's the bloodlines that go on. It's like 50 years later or whatever, 50, 60 years later. And like, they have grandkids that are running around going to college and stuff like that. And this is their story. This is where they're finding out, like, why is our family so messed up? Why does she live out in the middle of nowhere protecting herself? Why is grandma out there? And now the young granddaughter is having premonitions about that day and seeing it. So she's trying to unfold it. And what it really means is it's coming. Death is coming for him. And it's a scary vibe, but like, it's inventive. It's fun. They tongue in cheek. They poke fun at it like they do in most of the movies. But I would say actually in a more lighthearted way than the other sequels have been. The other sequels seemed very dedicated to, all right, well, let's just do this gory, fantastic kill scene and stuff like that. This actually set up some things. You had some good dialogue. It was interesting. I like the back and forth between everybody. They were all family, so they're trying to figure it out. Yeah, so for me, Final Destination Bloodlines was good. Tony Todd, of course, the late, great Tony Todd was in it. And I'm glad he got to finish this out. And I'm glad they gave him the connection that they did. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I want you guys to go watch it. And I think you'll really enjoy that aspect of it too. It really ties him into this franchise forever. And I love that. So Tony Todd, the late, great, go check this out. This might be worth it in theaters if you're a horror fan, just because it is very fantastical in the way it does things, as we all know. But the Space Needle scene alone, like, if you like that chaos, it's there, and it really blends well into the movie and the rest of the movie and how it plays out. There's a very interesting scene where they're walking down a suburban street. I'm not going to say anymore, but the whole thing and how it kind of plays out is a lot of fun. The tattoo parlor scene is fun. So like, there are things like throughout this movie that are going to keep you really intrigued, but it's these characters that keep it all connected. So I did. And I have a special bonus one for you guys tonight. A nice little review. So I hope you enjoyed the review on Final Destination Bloodlines. Let me know what you guys think, but we're going to do it early. Karate Kid Legends. I might do another one that's more spoilerish. This one's going to be non-spoiler. And here we go. All right, guys. Karate Kid Legends. If you had told me a year ago, or however long ago it was announced that this movie was coming out, I think it was about a year ago, that I would like it, probably second most in the entire franchise, because everything is connected. And we knew that was coming with Jackie Chan coming back and bringing Daniel LaRusso in to help him. Han, played by Jackie Chan. It was one of those things where, like, when I watched this movie, I was wondering, how do you take this story? Look what Cobra Kai did. They had to go so fantastical with their storylines that I don't feel like it matched the tone in the movie. So I was like, how do you bring that back? I was like, but bring Daniel back. And then I had always heard, like, hey, it's not tied in at all to the movie. It's a TV show. And I was like, all right, let's see how this plays out. Let's see if this is connected only to a couple of the movies. I never really like when they do that, when they shy away. Halloween has done that how many times now, but I've never been a huge fan of that when franchises do that and they kind of like retcon and like, all right, this doesn't count anymore. It's like, you should count it. It's important. I think all of those things are very important when it comes to franchises. But this was amazing, man. I loved this movie. Every actor in it was fun. The kid was fantastic. The new Karate Kid, the Kung Fu Karate Kid, because in this one they tell the story. They do retcon a bit when it comes to Miyagi. Mr. Miyagi, his family adopted a Kung Fu martial artist from back in the day, way back in the day, on Okinawa or something like that. And I'm sorry. Miyagi went and learned Kung Fu and then brought it back as part of Miyagi-Do. That's what it was. I don't want to give too much away. That's very quick backstory to it to kind of tie everything in and why Daniel needs to come back. But they marry it really well to say, like, if you want to win this, yes, you're a Kung Fu artist, but this is a karate tournament. It's fought differently. You have to understand that fighting style. So that's why he brings Daniel in to help him with that. And it plays really well. I thought this was such a fun role. Joshua Jackson's in it, plays the father of the young girlfriend that the kid meets, or the Elizabeth Shue character of the movie. And then he plays like the just this boxer who's like trying to make ends meet, and like this kid is helping him. It's so wild. I love the training sequences in it. He sort of becomes the Karate Kid at one point. It's so much fun. I want them to continue this. If you never bring Daniel back, even if you don't bring Jackie Chan back, which I hope they do, keep it up. This is like what Creed did for Rocky. It resurged this interest in what these movies are. And the Karate Kid is worth it. I think this was just a great time, a lot of fun. And I had such a great time just doing it in general and like hanging out and having a fun time watching it. I can't wait to go see it again for sure. But that is my review of Karate Kid Legends, because I don't want to give too much away. There's a lot to go with there. And once it comes out closer, I may do a spoiler review just to kind of like dig in a little bit more. I'll also, of course, write a review for that and such. But that was my review of Karate Kid Legends. Are you guys planning on seeing it? Have you seen it? What do you think? Let me know and let's talk about it. But tonight we're going to go on to our top 5 countdown of foreign films. I told you at the beginning, I am here to celebrate these amazing foreign films, and I'm super stoked. But let's kick it off with number 5, shall we? All right. My number 5 when it comes to foreign film. Now, all right, I should give a little bit of a backstory. I started watching foreign films. I watched Kung Fu movies when I was a kid. They're all dubbed. So the concept of foreign films wasn't there for me as a kid. Like, I watched a lot of American film. And then when I was about 17, 18, I graduated high school, and my buddy had gone to film school. And he was like, hey, you want to come audit the class? I was not going to film school at the time. He's like, you want to come audit the class, check it out, talk some movies, it'll be fun. So I did. And they showed Cinema Paradiso. And I was like, I was blown away, and, talking about the movie and like having those discussions. It like pushed me in. I was so ignorant. I was such a snob. I don't want to read, I'll watch dub stuff, but I don't want to read subtitles, stuff like that. And like, I feel like because I waited so long till I got to 18, like I wonder if that was good or bad. Like, did I miss out on so much that I really could add an appreciation for? Or was I now older and like I really appreciate foreign films more? So sometimes it's a little lost on me. But my number 5 is Amelie. It's out of France from 2001. It is a fantastic film about a young girl who wants to just bring joy to people's life. She has such a great imagination, and then it's a beautiful love story intertwined into it with her. Oh, it's such a wonderful story. Oh, my heart flutters every time I think about this movie, because it is such a beautiful drama, but there's so much beautiful little comedy to it. France really does that so perfectly, where they can marry romance into all different sort of genres. Like, drama can be mixed in, comedy, music, things like that. Is very vibrant. This movie, the colors are beautiful and they really jump off the screen. So if you've never seen Amelie, please watch it. It's a beautiful film. And all of the movies that are on here are very famous foreign films, but there's a reason that they're on my top 5. These are all movies that blew me away at one point or another. I watched this when I was in film school. I think it was 2007. And it was just... and I watched that at the urging of a friend of mine who grew up in Poland and was like, just kind of like throwing. We were in film school together. And he was like throwing so many, like he was like piling up foreign films I should watch. And man, and he's a great cinematographer now, Jagorsh. Thank you. Like, cause you did this. You turned me on to like Amelie and all these other brilliant foreign films, and like opened my eyes to just this beauty from different countries that I just like, I'm such an advocate for now. And Amelie kicked that off in my filmmaking world, where I was like, I don't want to just work on American films. I want to work all over and learn different ways, because there's so many different ways the filmmaking goes down, and there's so many different ways that each country kind of like goes about it. And I love that. So it's not one certain way. But that's my number 5. Now my number 4 is The Bicycle Thief, also known as Bicycle Thieves. This is a story that takes place in Italy in 1948. This is post-war. A lot of rebuilding was going on. A lot of poverty. To get work, you needed a vehicle of some sort. And a bike was like the big one, you know? Oh, excuse me. So much talking. I'm losing air. A bike was a big one. And this man, father, who is just trying to make ends meet for his family, gets a job, and he has his bike, and he's super happy, super proud of himself. But his bike gets stolen. And this movie follows him and his son as they go throughout the day trying to find the bicycle thief who took it back. And it ends in such a, I don't want to say it is tragic in a lot of ways, but there's a beautiful thing about the misery that comes at the end of this film that I just think that everyone should watch. This beautiful, beautiful film. It's beautifully acted. The story just will stick with you forever. This is one that I have to watch every once in a while, but I love this movie, The Bicycle Thief, or The Bicycle Thieves, if you have a chance. And I like to call it The Bicycle Thief because there's a double sort of connotation to both those titles, really. But the second one, The Bicycle Thieves, I think kind of sullies that connotation in such a way. That's why I like the double entendre of The Bicycle Thief. And you'll find out why if you watch the movie, but it's definitely go check for sure. Number 3 is The Seventh Samurai. Now, Kurosawa, if you've never seen a Kurosawa film, he's made like 30 of them. Watch every single one because they're brilliant. Every single one's brilliant. And this isn't his best movie. This is probably his most famous in America. This is the first one I've ever seen of Kurosawa. And again, that was later in life. Like I watched that, I want to say Seventh, I watched that in Turner Classic. I was probably around 22, 23 years old or something like that. And I was blown away by it, because I had seen The Magnificent Seven, which is based on, but I had never seen the original. And I was just, and this was the first Kurosawa film, like I said. I had just seen The Seventh Seal. Why am I drawing a blank now? Seventh Seal. Not too long before that. And like, I was just really into the black and white 50s sort of storytelling, especially in foreign. So I went to Seventh Samurai and I was just blown away. This is one I got to watch every few years just to keep up with, because it is a really beautiful film. It's so well crafted and well told. The acting in it is great. The costuming, the production design, everything about this movie. Kurosawa put his lifeblood into every one of his films to tell beautiful stories, heartbreaking stories at times too, about the country he loves, of Japan. So this is out of Japan. It came out in 1954. A brilliant movie. Again, please go check this out if you have a chance. It is 1,000% worth it. And number 2, I'm going back another year to another black and white film. This is in my top 5. This is a heartbreaking, probably one of the most intense thrillers I have ever seen. And if you have not had a chance, please watch this movie. And that is The Wages of Fear. It has been remade. It actually has been remade a few times. It was remade. It was called The Sorcerer with it was I can't think of his name off the top of my head, because I'm like thinking now about The Wages of Fear from 1953. And it was a French film, but it was shot in Italy. And it had to be. I think it takes place in South America though. And so it's a French film about these impoverished men who are looking for work. It's not a lot is there, and they're offered work to be truck drivers for nitroglycerin through the Amazon rainforest. That's insanity. In the 50s. So like, it's this intense thriller of watching these men, because they need this nitroglycerin to put out a fire, an oil well fire on the other side of the rainforest. So, and they need this, and it's the only way they can get it there. They can't get it any other way. So these men have to take this death-defying trip to get that nitroglycerin there. And it's just, I'm telling you, like, intensity is the word. It's the name of the game with this movie. And it's worth it from beginning to end. This movie will keep you like, just like, oh my God, you know, so like, I don't want to give anything away. I'm just so excited. It's one of my favorites. So please go check out The Wages of Fear. And I want to thank my good buddy over at, this one I watched fairly recently. I want to say 2020, 2021 maybe. Had never heard of it before. I've heard of The Sorcerer, which came out in the 70s, a remake, and they did remake it maybe like a year or two ago for a TV show on Netflix. Have not seen that. That might be interesting. It's a cool story, like I said, but this original, I have to believe is just the best because it just really was from beginning to end just a brilliant film. So if you haven't had a chance to check this out, please go watch The Wages of Fear from 53. It's worth it 100%. But number one on my list. All right. And I talked about it earlier. It was like one of the first foreign films like I watched knowing it was a foreign film and like kind of like watching it with those eyes was Cinema Paradiso, an Italian film from 1988 about a young boy living in pre-war Italy when they're, and he's growing up and he befriends a projectionist at the local movie theater. And through his time and his friendship with this projectionist, he learns all about life through movies. And being a cinephile, being somebody who loves movies as much as I do, it spoke to me on so many levels. And Cinema Paradiso is such a beautiful film of friendship, of love, of what it means to be alive and to be good and to really embrace all of the beauty that life offers you, even when times are really dark. And that is a great message, especially for today. So Cinema Paradiso, if you haven't seen it, please go check it out. But that's my top 5 of foreign films. If you haven't had a chance, go check it out for sure. But I wanted to talk about foreign films a little bit. I got some notes and stuff, I was like talking and thinking about it. And so one of the things is like, Hollywood storytelling often like centers on a single protagonist overcoming like these insurmountable odds and, and tying everything up in a storyline neatly. American movies, and I'm not putting anything down. This isn't like, American movies versus foreign film. I love American movies, don't get me wrong. I especially love indie American movies and stuff like that. So like there's so much inventiveness. But there are differences when you come down to it. And there's a lot when it comes down to it. Like Hollywood movies feel like they're always centered sort of on the hero's journey, whereas the global narratives sort of change. And I've always love that. But again, how many can you have where these lovers unite, the world is saved, everyone's happy? And that's a lot of those American films. That, most of the films I just talked about, if you watch the top 5 segment and you're listening or whatever, those are the films that like, they're all heartbreaking. There's tragedy to them. They don't end with this Hollywood ending. That's where it comes from, the term Hollywood ending, and that's why like there is such a stark difference of the two. And it really is foreign films versus American films, because culturally this country is a lot different. And I would even dig deeper, and I'm going to with Spike Lee movies soon, so look out for that. That's gonna be an article I'm writing. But how even when we look at films in America, maybe white-based films versus people of color who have created films, or women's films, things like that, there is a genuine reality to those films because it's there, and I equate that to foreign films. There's this genuine reality, but then you get to the more Hollywood films and there's a whimsy to it. All are deserved, all are needed, all are beautiful, but it is important to make those distinctions, I think. So like, in the contrast, many foreign films are comfortable subverting these tropes. The hero might perish midway, lovers might, come apart, and the endings can be bittersweet or tragic. And oftentimes when we watch foreign films, they are tragic. The tragedy is a very real part of life, and it should be seen. And I feel like in a lot of foreign films, that tragedy needs to be there, not because it speaks culturally to the country we're watching it from, but it speaks to the livelihoods that we're watching within these cultures. And I love that aspect of it. So Asian cinema, for example, embraces impermanence and collective fate. So self-sacrifice or sad endings, they're not very uncommon in Asian cinema. We see, there's certain subgenres where we see a lot of that, more, I don't want to say depressing. But it is a very unsettling at times. Back in the day, we did see a lot more. A lot of the bigger budget felt like they had more of a Hollywood vibe they were sort of going for and didn't have that tragedy to them. But there are so many beautiful films that hold to that. The East and West split of Hollywood blockbuster might guarantee the triumph of the return of the hero. while a Japanese or a Korean film might leave you pondering, or is the fate ambiguous? Most of the times this happens. You see that a lot, and it's sort of coming into the television realm as well, like a lot with the storytelling, Squid Game, stuff like that. But Japanese and Korean movies can be very dark at times, with a lot more tragedy than we might see in like an American film. But there's this beauty to it. There's no indignity to the tragedy in the movies. I feel like there is an indignity in American films sometimes, like when there's tragedy, like it ends things, like that's a definitive ending. This tragedy ended this. But I feel like there's this different outlook when it comes to most foreign films when it comes to tragedy, that it's added because of the beauty that they're trying to convey in it, and that's what I love about that. But so going to French New Wave though, and like talking about and all the way to Bollywood and such, like these are very relevant film societies in different countries that, I mean, look, just like all of them have had such a huge impact on Hollywood films. How many things do we see getting remade all the time? So the international industry has developed distinct storytelling flavors in reaction to Hollywood, especially French New Wave when we go back to talk about that, when that kind of kicked off, and Bollywood too. Bollywood, thing I love about Bollywood is Bollywood's not afraid. Bollywood is willing to take steps in their movies that most countries wouldn't, but it's so culturally appropriate within India and the Bollywood audiences. Like there's something so beautiful about adding the culture that they do. Now everyone adds culture of their countries into their films, don't get me wrong. We were just talking about that with Japan and like Korea and such, but Bollywood isn't afraid to like take it to the next level if they need to. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but from a lot of times it works. And they're playing up a lot of great genres but with different themes and like more genuine themes, in my opinion. So the French New Wave in the 50s and 60s, they're rejected Hollywood's that polished studio control, like, because the studio system was big, and like it was, these other countries were coming into it at a time like the 40s, 50s and such. They had been filmmaking for a long time, but it almost felt like they were taking from a step behind where Hollywood was. Everybody was. So now it's like, feels like it's catching up and surpassing in most time, at least the last 40 years. They opted instead for improvisational, auteur-driven, which is something in the 70s American films started to get into. 80s kind of drowned that out a lot of times. But we see that now today. Chris Nolan, Sinners just came out. I would definitely say Ryan Coogler is an auteur film. And everything he puts out is going to be brilliant, just like Chris Nolan, things like that. So we do have that here, but there were so many more because they had to be visionaries to break out, that they were tales that like broke rules and embraced the existential angst of their countries and things like that, which I feel like Hollywood films are afraid to touch down on that existential angst a little bit. They do so more now, especially indie films, but I don't feel like they get a wide base of audience when you do have films like a lot of fourth wall breaks, especially if you love that stuff. But so you get into Bollywood, on the other hand, and they mix their genres, like a spicy masala, often blending romance, action's a big thing. Comedy is always played well in Bollywood films, and I do feel like that comedy fits in well in Bollywood films. Like, I've always enjoyed them. Can I name one for you? Probably not. I'm going to be completely honest, but RRR was fantastic. That was such a good action film. I enjoyed that, but that was an extreme. That was sort of a big budget one. So, but like, yeah, down at what was it? New Brunswick, New Jersey, where the theater we used to go to, they would play Bollywood films, and sometimes like I would just go be bored and do it. Like I said, I was an adult, so I got into them a little bit more at a time where I feel like that was better. I feel like as a kid, I wouldn't have appreciated them as much as I do now. And I got all of like the crap out of the way, because I watched a lot of great films as a kid, but I got a lot of that crap out of the way too, to make room for watching all this stuff. And more highbrow movies now, things like that, saves it for like where I'll really understand it at 40 than where I wouldn't have understood it at 20. But yeah, Bollywood films are ones that I think most ages can enjoy. But even seeing that difference between them, they're epic. They have like this epic scope to them, whereas we don't always get that with our Marvel movies and our big budget movies. I wish we did. Most time, epic comes with the auteurs now here in America. So the genre tone, predictable versus unpredictable. Hollywood is often accused of playing it safe for formulaic genre. I think we all know that. We see breakout. I think the horror genre, in my opinion, is the number one genre to really test things because it's the genre that is taken seriously the least in this country. Loved the most, I would probably argue. I don't have sound facts on that, but I would say the horror genre is probably loved the most, maybe sci-fi. But it doesn't have, we do, for the most part, when it comes to Hollywood, play most things safe. They don't want to whereas you're going to push the brink in a lot of foreign films. So, you get things like that, like the Marvel style superhero arc, the jump scare horror, the meet cute rom-coms. I'm kind of over those, but and certain foreign cinema thrive on unpredictability and genre bending. We see that all the time. South Korea, their films are a great example of this. So they seamlessly, they'll zigzag between comedy, drama, thriller, and it will take it to different places that we're not really expecting. And it will come at times in the film where it feels uneasy or unsettling, but it leaves a lasting impression on us. And that's what I love about that. And I just always had a good time with, especially like Asian cinema, they do that. Korean, Japanese is good for that. Chinese, I will say, such brilliant films that really push a lot, but they do tend to play it a little bit safe. And I think that is because they have such a huge, Hollywood level filmmaking film industry out there. So it's one of those things where I just think China may play it a little bit safer than some of the other countries in Asia, and even talking about Bollywood and stuff, they don't really play it safe at all. They go all in. But it is interesting, and I do. But you're seeing it break out into American films, like Bong Joon-ho. He just had Mickey 17 come out, of course, Parasite, things like that. So these are movies that you don't normally see from American visionaries. But I like that it's breaking out here more because you're going to start seeing younger filmmakers start to emulate that. So local flavor and noir and drama. Regional storytelling nuances also shine in genres like the crime drama. Scandinavian noir exemplifies a slow burn style that is very different from Hollywood crime thrillers. And I'm not going to take anything away from Hollywood crime thrillers. Like I said, it's beautiful, all beautiful but different. The Nordic stories, they're very dimly lit most time. They favor that, they want that look. It's very dark skies most of the time. So the cinematography is exuding an idea of this palette that's just very sort of dense maybe, but it adds a flavor. It tells a story, and it kind of exemplifies who they are in their storytelling. And there's some great movies in the Nordic tradition that you should go check out for sure. Mads Mikkelsen has some great movies too. He's out of Sweden, I believe, or is he Sweden or Norway? And his movies are very much good examples of that. So let's say check it out, but in Hollywood, you're getting the detectives, they're going to have quips, they're going to have one-liners, they're going to be chasing the perps, it's going to be high action, it's going to, and there's something to that, but there's something to be said for that dramatic turn and that dark turn of thrillers and stuff like that. The Nordic way of doing it, British is very similar to that. Germany as well. Check a lot of those movies out, but the Swedish and the Danish movies for sure, and they tell some brilliant stories. So definitely worth it. And it comes down to studios, budgets, bottom lines, things like that. The Hollywood film industry operates on a different scale, fewer films, which wasn't always how it used to be. Used to be a lot more films, and I thought that worked better. Bigger budgets, which I don't think works well. I think spread it out evenly across the board. It's not unusual for a single Marvel or James Cameron movie to cost more than dozens of indie foreign films combined. Probably most of them combined in a year. Hollywood focuses on high cost, high return productions, while industries like Bollywood crank out far more films annually on average, often with leaner budgets. And people are still entertained by it. And you can kind of push that a little bit further into the American indie scene. I think it emulates Hollywood films more than it does foreign films, but there's more chances being taken, and I think that's really important, and it contrasts Hollywood and their spending, lavishly on movies and stuff like that. That's what sets it apart, but I think that's also what's hurting Hollywood for a long time. It's not based on entertainment. You're not getting things across the board where people are getting paid and making good stuff, but you are taking people out of the equation, that you're taking things out of the equation that could be interesting and new and fresh and not cost as much. So it's one of those things that just kind of I do. The studio system, I think, took more chances back in the day as it went on, and then kind of dissolved. It kind of changed things out, but the indie idea has always been there, really, with foreign films, because they don't have that backing of this immense studio system, or all these top studios out there. Like, they may get funding, but that funding generally comes with go make a movie, and that's a very sort of independent way of thinking, and it leaves a lot open and takes a lot of chances and stuff like that. So when it comes to foreign films compared to America, it's something that I think anybody who loves movies and loves stories should be giving this a real try. Should be checking it out. It's worth it. You're going to see a lot more foreign films, maybe in the festival circuits, in art houses, stuff like that. That's where you'll find them. But with streaming today, there's so much you can find, and there's so much worth seeing. Like, pick out some of your favorite American genre films. Pick a genre, go with it, whatever you like, and then try and look up similar films out there that are foreign. I think that really goes a long way in like creating this entertaining world of something just different, and kind of how it all plays out. I do. Again, I love it. I love foreign films. I hate the fact that they get attacked, or for the most part, and it's not really. I would like to see more people, especially in Hollywood, come out to defend with what's going on, because I think that is so important. But you tell me, what do you guys think? Are you horror fans? Of course you're horror fans. But are you foreign movie fans? And when did you become a foreign movie fan? And tell me your top 5. Make sure you comment on that. But all right, everybody, I think it's that time of night. We're going to get to our final segment of the evening, which is Mick's Movie Picks. And you got 2 for you. That's right. As you know, we take our Mick's Movie Picks. I did from the year 1974, The Conversation, starring Gene Hackman. And of course, from 2000, Mission Impossible 2. I do classic film reviews on these that have sort of a backstory about the movies and things like that. But yeah, these are 2 movies that I love. I've been watching the Mission Impossible movies, kind of catching up for the new one coming out. But The Conversation, Sidney Lumet movie from 1974. If you haven't had a chance to see it, go check it out. Go watch my classic film reviews on these 2 movies. I'll be doing all the Mission Impossible movies on classic reviews for the next 2 months. So make sure you go watch them as well. But yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. A couple things that are going to be going on, just so you guys know. I'm going to be gaming for Carolina Fear Fest. We're going to be playing Phasmophobia. Sturdy and I will be hanging out playing that. So make sure you come out, hang out. It'll be live. We'll be talking some crap, getting killed by ghosts probably, and it'll be a wild time for sure. And of course, next week, I will be live from Carolina Fear Fest, May 23rd through the 25th. Get your tickets in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's going to be a ton of fun. I hope you guys can come out and be there, part of it. Carolina Fear Fest is tagged down below. You can go down and carolinafearfest.com, get your tickets, go check out everything they have going on. It is going to be an amazing time. And I want to thank you guys for being here. I know it's just me tonight. I hope I kept you entertained. I hope you liked what I had to say. But until next time, I'm Mick Manhattan. Thank you guys. Make sure you hit subscribe to the channel. Like I said, with the podcast, if you're watching or listening, please rate, review, comment, all that stuff. Follow us. It goes such a long way. It really helps us out. We're trying to build up. If you are ever interested in helping with the channel and such, we have a Patreon that you can join up. We have some fun stuff going on there, but all goes back into helping the show. We have Buy Me a Coffee, stuff like that. So, yeah, we just appreciate you. And thank you guys so much. Until next time, though, I'm Mick Manhattan. And I hope you guys will take care of yourselves, be good to yourselves, and be kind to each other, because that's really important. And stay classy, because that's what it's all about. But until then, take care. Good night, and I'll see you later.